diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello. Good afternoon. I started a few minutes early because I didn't feel like sitting here staring at the screen. In the meantime, though, it's not the best recording, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you the full version of the Trudging Together song. All right. About 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. So enjoy. I'm kidding. They're nice.
Okay. Well, this is the song. Where do I look?
You don't need to really look anywhere. If you want to, you can look in the camera.
Okay.
It'll look kind of weird, but you can do that if you want to.
Okay. This is from the intro portion of the song "Trudging Together" that I wrote. I made it into a full song. And here it is.
Overdosed, he breaks every time he bends, hanging from a thread from his scars that never bled, thinking will forever ever end. We're buried in sorrow, our guilty souls aching, hoping that time will take us back to yesterday. The woods can be dance for our acts. The sea can be deep for our diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way. Their fights were getting worse, and she couldn't see her worth. And leaving him was harder than she thought. Well, one drink turned to two, and soon enough she knew that every time she'd start, she couldn't stop. We're broken and hollow from all of our mistakes, and today we will begin again, forgive and reawake. The woods can be dance for our acts. The sea can be deep for our diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Love it. I love it. We're going to be going into a studio here in the next couple of months. I think it's probably going to be the beginning of January. She actually has several songs that we're going to put into studio. So, the Trudging Together theme song is going to be like is going to be the single to the whole thing. She wrote the music, the lyrics, everything to that. Everything. I think it's just amazing how Well, she knows my niece saw me when I was drinking, and we've had a lot of discussions and stuff. She's also a psychology major, so you know, very talented, very talented. And the theme song means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me because it's part of my love language. When people do things like, you know, where they take time like that, like a written letter. A written letter means a lot to me. Let's do introductions. Hello there. Hello, Facebook user. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name's Dion. I'm making this shit up today. And if you're here, please say hello. I just didn't feel like I was done talking. And I was talking to my sponsee earlier, and he had what he did is he called me because he's being a temp sponsor. He's not quite done with the steps, but he can help people out. So hi Patricia. I have a couple of Patricias. So where was I at? But I'm presuming it's Patricia B. So but she usually says like good evening. So, good to know my people, aren't I? And he was talking to me. He's like, well, he gave me a call and he said that he found another sponsor. Thank you for the help. So it is Patricia B. All right. Hi. And he's like, and I'm not taking offense to it, but it does kind of feel weird, And he was taking a little offense to it. He just didn't want to tell me. That's all right. It's the first time, man. It's the first time that's happened to him. So it was neat because we got to have a discussion. And I said, what you did is you went to this person, you were honest, stated your intentions, which your intentions were to be a temporary sponsor. That means that you are going to help them until they find a full-time sponsor. And you did that. And he goes, oh. I'm like, yeah, brother, you planted a seed. That guy, what you did is you helped the guy out until he got to where he needed to be. And that's where this title came from. They are supposed to move on. We are supposed to move on. I am not friends with any of my sponsors, ex-sponsors. All right. I check in with my ex-sponsors ex-sponsor. This time I've only had one sponsor since I came into the program. I've been looking for a sponsor for 3 years. I can't find one. So I use a different technique, which is accountability buddies. And I make sure that I'm covered in every aspect of my life because I do a lot of different things. Like my professional work. A sponsor wouldn't really understand what I was talking about, but my therapist certainly understands what I'm talking about because she's in the same field, right? And that keeps me accountable in the field. Now, then I have other friends that might teach me something like, hey, like learning new arenas, talking in the right arenas and things like that. So when we take on new people, they're supposed to move on. So when we're done with the 12 steps, they're supposed to leave you. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be a closed mouth friend. It doesn't mean that you're not their sponsor anymore. It means that it's your chance to go out and sponsor somebody else. Okay? Now, a lot of sponsees and sponsors do become fast friends, and I'm certainly not saying that that's not okay. Absolutely. Okay? But the problem that can come of that is then a sponsee may become a little too reliant on the sponsor. So when I was talking to my sponsee earlier, he said, yeah, there's another guy and he's on the marijuana maintenance program and he's not reaching back out. I'm like, and I told him, stop doing that. If he wants help, he's got to call you. Have you noticed that I didn't chase you at all? Never. In fact, sometimes you call me, I don't answer the phone. Have you noticed that? Yeah, that's because I got something going on. You got to figure it out. That's life. That is life. And it is how we're supposed to treat um it is exactly how we're supposed to treat sponsorship or working with new people, right? Don't be offended. I had somebody let me go about a month ago. They said AA wasn't the way, that they appreciated my help, and I told them, "Well, I hope your way works. I'm all for it. If you have found a different path to recovery that's working for you, go for it, man. I am not going to stop you." Nope. In fact, all that person did was free up my time so that I could help another person. So we got to take these things for what they are. Okay. I love it when people come to trudging to you, and that's a lot of times why my numbers are small, because people move on. Sometimes people come and listen to me for a couple months, get what they need in the beginning, and they move on. Great. Great. Please do it. Please do it. Then there are some people that I've become friends with, and they come here and hang out with me, like Patricia. Patricia's here hanging out with me. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that. Figure I'd do a little reading from the big book. This isn't going to be too much longer, I don't think, because I really do feel like getting to the rest of my day and winding down. I do. I was doing really good, and then I let somebody live kind of. That's why I come on here. I'm distracting myself sometimes, because it's more important to help somebody else than it is to live in my own head. All right. So I'm going to start on page 98. I'm just going to read a couple paragraphs here. It is not the matter of giving that is in question, but when and how to give. Okay. You're going to get indications on when and how to give. How are you going to do that? You're going to do that by and listening. Hey, are you okay? No. Do you need somebody to talk to? I'd be happy to listen. If you say you're going to listen, do that. Okay? Listen. They're going to give you indications as to what is going on. And if you're listening, what you can do is use your empathy in order to say, hey, I've been through that. And now guess what? You are armed with facts about yourself. Facts. All your experience, everything that you've been through in your drinking career, everything that you've been through in recovery is experience, and experience is fact. That is a matter of fact. That often makes the difference between failure and success. But there's also the willingness portion of the other person. So let's keep that in mind. Okay. Now, here, I think it's very dangerous when a sponsor says that person just isn't willing. Why don't you think about it? Well, I'm not connecting with this person. See, when we feel like we don't connect with them, we will go to unwilling, and that's not necessarily true. Why? Because you're not the Alpha Omega. You're not. You're not God. So think a step forward. Think one more step. I just want you to go one more step. This is what I want you to think. Well, then who in my life would be good for this person? That's what I want you to think. I'm not connecting. Why am I not connecting? Maybe, like for me, I can be pretty hard on my sponsees. They'll say something, I'll be like, I'm like, I call bullshit. I do that stuff all the time. And if I have somebody that, maybe is a little more timid, I may not be the best person for them. Okay? Because it's not about me. It is about when and how to give. The minute we put our work on a service plane, the alcoholic commences to rely upon our assistance rather than upon God. He clamors for that, this or that, claiming he cannot master alcohol until his material needs are cared for. Nonsense. Some of us have taken very hard knocks to learn this truth. Job or no job, wife or no wife, we simply do not stop drinking so long as we place dependence upon other people ahead of dependence on God. When I was 18 years old, I was homeless for the first year of my sobriety. Well, I was in a home for homeless alcoholics. I wasn't paying rent. That wasn't my home. Okay. They still considered me homeless because I didn't have my own home. They were like a staging area for homeless alcoholics. It was beautiful, man. I actually miss being there. So burn the idea into the consciousness of every man that he can get well regardless of anyone. The only condition is that he trusts God and clean house. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about homeless again. That is right. I know a lot of homeless people that are sober. I know a lot of them that are in recovery. Okay. But their chances of recovery go up if you put a roof over their head. Not even necessarily their own, but maybe like a halfway house for homeless alcoholics. Okay. In that place, you weren't allowed to work. You had to stay there and work. We sanded plaques, we made plaques and piggy banks. I even still have some of them. My wife has them. So, all right. I'm going to skip over to 99 here. Let no alcoholic say he cannot recover unless he has his family back. This just isn't so. And that's true too. I've been through that. I'm coming up on year 7, and I'm just now happy about going to Christmas. I'm actually kind of excited to go see my brothers and my sisters and my mom and my stepdad. In some cases, the wife will never come back for one reason or another. Remind the prospect that his recovery is not dependent upon people. It is dependent upon his relationship with God. We have seen men get well with whose family have not returned at all. We have seen others slip when both the family came back too soon. My parents got divorced. A lot of times, this is what happens. The alcoholic gets sober and they're working the program, but the significant other doesn't go to Al-Anon, or maybe they don't want to change. They don't have to. Okay. But they are just as sick as the alcoholic. Okay. When you have a significant other that's been making excuses for you for years, that's a habit. It's a bad habit. Right? They don't have to go to Al-Anon forever like we have to go to AA forever. Sometimes they stick around. My wife went for about a year, got what she needed. All right. But she just didn't agree with a lot of the Al-Anons there. And they're like, the way they talk about you guys is horrible. And I just don't think that way about you. And so she couldn't, it wasn't for her. So she got what she needed and she left the rest like a normal person does, but not us. No, not us. We're going to find the hardest road we can. Right? Even if it's only 5 steps, we will make a mile out of it somehow. Both you and the new man must walk day and day in the path of spiritual progress. If you persist, remarkable things will happen. When we look back, we realize that the things which came to us when we put ourselves in God's hands were better than anything we could have planned. Follow the dictates of a higher power, and you will presently live in a new and wonderful world, no matter what your present circumstances. And I'll watch this happen every day of my life. I've watched it happen with my life. I'm watching it happen in Patricia's life and the other people that are on here. Okay. So we must move forward. Our sponsees must move forward. Don't you think that maybe if you were sponsoring somebody, let's say you became really good friends, Stop sponsoring them. The relationship is different now. It's different. Okay. It needs to be a guide. Now, that doesn't mean any of this. It means that our relationship has changed. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Why? Because that means that we are making relationships that are unique and priceless. But to think that we're going to get everything from one sponsor, let's not do that to ourselves. If you've done the steps with your sponsor, maybe a good idea is to say, hey, I love you, but I'm going to go find another sponsor, see what else there is. Maybe. Okay. But let's also keep in mind that the person you've been talking to knows you very well. Now they're a closed mouth friend. Do you see the switch? Okay. Even, and when I say friends, I don't mean that lightly. I don't. I have my AA friends and I have my my wealth of friends, but on a personal level, I have 3 people. But I like to keep my friendships very small, and it takes me a long time to become friends with somebody because everybody's always left. So if I don't get attached, I don't get hurt. Oh, and I still do that. I'm aware of it. It's that's a character defect, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm willing to go beyond my boundaries to appease other people. That's not fair to ask. And I won't, it's not going to happen. It won't. So, all right. Not bad for not really having a topic. So, but thank you everybody for being here. Patricia, it was good to see you again, as always. I hope everybody has a good Friday night. Be careful. Be careful. Those cops are out and they're out in numbers. Then my niece, the one that did the song in the beginning and the theme song, that's my niece. She sent me she sent me a post in my messenger, because she's thinking of me when it comes to alcohol and things like that. And what it was the that the police were cracking down on drinking and driving. I'm like, well, these are none of my friends. I'm not going to let people. I'm like, no, I'm not going to let people know that. I want them to get caught if they're drinking and driving. Okay. Here's the thing. I can sit here and tell you not to drink and drive, but once you get something in your head, forget it. Yeah, you ain't going to change that person's mind. I'm living next to my ex-sponsor. That's awesome. That is awesome. Makes it, it makes this great big world feel a little bit smaller and doable, doesn't it? That's why it's important that you get along with your neighbors. It is important to get along with your neighbors, whether you like them or not, because you're going to be living next to each other, right? So, all right. I'm sure you are. You're living next to each other. Talk about being accountable, though. There's no way either one of you could get away with drinking. And I say that jokingly because I got this feeling that neither one of you really want to drink again. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks for putting me back in a good mood. I needed it. I love you guys. Peace out and have a day.